What's going on, guys? This is Alex Tex Kate, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about the must-do maintenance and parts changes when you get to a high round count with your CZ Shadow 2. So here are my main two Shadow 2s. The one here on your left is going to be my newer one and the one that has recently been turned into my primary match gun. The one here on my left is going to be my OG and the one that has about 70,000 rounds on it, comparatively to the newer one that has around 10. Now, being that the newer one is now in a point to where some of those original parts are starting to really show their wear, and I'm noticing them based on what I experienced with the old one. But we're going to talk about those few things that you really want to make sure that you keep on hand to make sure that you do not have any detrimental malfunctions and you end up chasing yourself in a circle trying to figure out what was wrong. This small list, which will also be in the description below with links as well, is going to compromise a lot of what I have done to rebuild the older Shadow to make it run like new again. Obviously, to start off, the easy things, it's kind of self-explanatory, but hammer spring, recoil spring are going to be the two easiest things to change and stay on top of. They're very cheap, very affordable, but those things go on any gun that is not really that unique to these. Now we'll call that level 1, your recoil and hammer springs here. Going into level 2, which will take a little bit more time to wear, but I also noticed after 65-ish thousand rounds on the one, I did not have any issues with these parts, but CZ and Cajun recommends changing them a lot sooner than I did. So I'm going to be doing so on the newer Shadow, and those are your firing pin spring and your trigger return spring. The firing pin spring hasn't really been an issue for me because I use the extended firing pins, which gives it a little bit more travel anyway. So even as that spring starts to wear, it's still giving it enough. But either way, I would recommend adding that to the list of parts to change as well as that trigger return spring. The trigger return spring plays a lot more part if you are using the double action more than anything. Now I shoot limited optics and I shoot these out of single action, so I don't really experience too much of that wear, but I did change one anyway, being that was the recommendations from Cajun Gun Works. Now, these other three things are a little bit more important. When these break, they can cost you a lot more time and a lot more headache. And those three things will be one, which goes for any platform, your extractor system. I was recently asked how often you change that out, and my response to them was honestly, anytime the optic has to come off. If you never take the optic off, at least once a year if you are using these heavily. I have changed a couple of extractors on the older one just because extraction issues are pretty much the most common thing you run into with parts wear on these firearms. And if you hit this link right here, it shows you my peak performance maintenance routine to help avoid that stuff, or no more FTEs as I like to call it. But outside of failure to extract issues, which can be solved by chamber polishing and refreshing your extractor, the two biggest detriments that can really stop you in the middle of a stage or in the middle of training or otherwise is going to be the slide stop as well as the barrel bushing. So my first barrel bushing did not break until about 50K, and even then it didn't cause me any kind of detrimental malfunction. I could just tell the slide was dragging and I could literally feel it cycling the entirety of the way. When I investigated further, I had found that a chunk of the bushing itself had broken off and was stuck inside. So obviously, that marred up my barrel pretty good. It marred up the frame on the inside pretty good, but I was lucky that I was able to still complete a match before figuring that out. Now, one that you will not be able to shoot through is a broken slide stop. It has not happened to me yet, but it has been brought to my attention after watching it happen to a friend during the Michigan Sectional Championship, in which the gun was completely done for once that thing broke. You are not going to finish that stage. You have to take it apart. You have to finagle it out. And that slide stop takes a lot of impact. A lot. Now, I have gone back and forth between running slide stops and running Shooting Sports Innovations nitrofin gas pedals. Going back and forth is just something that I do for variability in my training, as to make sure that my fundamentals are the same across the board, and I'm never trying to overuse an accessory in which takes away from my overall shooting fundamentals. If you are running the standard slide stop like most people are, I highly recommend changing that at least once a year. I've had people say change it every 10,000, every 20,000, every 30,000. I saw it break on my buddy around 30, 35, I would say. So I think once a year, if you're running these things really hard, is a really good rule of thumb. But all in all, let's break down that parts list for you. The easy things to do, which are cheap, simple, not hard to change whatsoever, are going to be your recoil spring, hammer spring, and sear spring, as well as the trigger return spring. Those are 4 very easy things to change. The extractor is as well, especially if you don't run an optic and you're running iron sights. You can go ahead and change that extractor and extractor spring as well. And furthermore, changing out your barrel bushing. As you can see here, this is the upgraded bushing on the end of this one and your stock bushing on the end of this one. This is getting a new bushing once I get back from nationals next week. Either way, just for that peace of mind. And then lastly, the slide stop. Again, the last thing you want is that thing to break off inside, especially if you only have one of these, because it's not going to be a quick swap for you. At least it usually is not. So, all in all, those are the things that I have found have become the most necessary as far as keep up maintenance on your Shadow 2s when it comes to a high round count. But all in all, thank you guys for stopping in. I hope you got something from this. Please let me know what else you'd like to see in the comments. Let me know if you have any questions, any concerns, any input, or any feedback. I always appreciate it. And please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. But before we go any further, guys, please make sure to keep up on all my content by following me on Instagram, on Facebook, and letting me know what more you'd like to see. Sharing these videos, sharing the Instagram or Facebook Reels means the world to me and helps me reach and engage with more people. So, all in all, thank you guys for that. And also a huge shout out to my sponsors, particularly Lock Grips, Rune Tactical, Shooting Sports Innovations, Reloading Systems, Hunter's Insight Firearms, and Hunter's HD Gold. So, with that said, let's get into the video.